Well, we welcome you to this edition, number 21, Moss Growth Podcast for Monday, October 1st, 2012. It's hard to believe it's October, but it is. And joining me here on the Google Plus Hangout, longtime buddy, Justin Ray Harvey from Southern West Virginia. How's it going there, brother?
Doing pretty good, Moss. How you doing, brother?
Oh, I'm doing quite well, doing quite well. Now, why we've got Justin on the show here is was a common visitor on the Postacast that I used to do for years and years. He was on several shows. So to kind of get you guys oriented who Justin Ray Harvey is, I'm going to let him kind of introduce himself and talk about his connection with one of the great martial artists of all time, and that's Hashi Frank Dukes. So Justin, take it away.
Okay, well, I was diagnosed with severe cerebral palsy when I was born. So that's one of the challenges I face in life. But I don't let it stop me. I was a very active kid, did marching band, chorus in high school, did some work for the March of Dimes. My connection with Frank Dukes, to cut a long story short, I ran into this organization on MySpace called Rock for Wishes, and they asked me, they said, what would your one wish be? And when I told them about my first wish, Moss, this is what's funny about it. They actually laughed about it and said it would be hard to do. And then I laughed back and I said, well, I've got his phone number. And without
Yeah.
hesitation, yeah, and without hesitation, they called him up and he said, sure, I would love to meet him, and that's how it all started. So,
How long you known him now?
oh Lord, I think 3 or 4 years, something like that.
Been about 3 or 4 years? Huh.
Yeah.
And I'm putting here on the screen for folks from your Facebook page. There you are with Frank Dukes. Now this was a pretty recent photo. It looks like August 9th. What were you doing there?
That is his infamous cabin. As you can see, right there is his Kumite trophy, and that was our pose. So,
Okay. Now is this up in Washington where he lives at?
yes, yes.
Okay.
And not many people get to take pictures with his Kumite stuff, and it was a great honor to be a part of that.
Yeah, most definitely. So I mean, he's got the Kumite trophy. He's got looks like he's a big Mac user with the big screen that he has there.
Yeah.
And what else does he have there behind? Just some photos of him with his class or from his Kumite days or what?
Well, I can't remember all the photos, but you can barely see that there's a blood sport photo. So,
Okay, let me go full screen here with that. Does that help any at all?
it blacked out on my end.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, it did on my end too. Oh well.
Oh,
Anyway,
well.
yeah, let me go back to you now. Yeah, there's still some glitches with Google Plus that we're still learning. It's still a work in progress, but nevertheless, one of the things that you told me about Frank that he helped you do was take some of your first steps that you've ever taken. Why don't you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, he did a massage called Chuakan,
Uh-huh.
and after this massage, I was able to sidestep for the very first time with no effort. So it was amazing. I
Yeah,
wish I would have got that on video.
yeah, as I say, how did he do that? I mean, which is just a type of you said it's type of massage type thing, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's I think it's based out of Mongolia because I think Genghis Khan used to use it with his warriors and stuff, and it would heal them. So it's a very ancient technique.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, tell me about that meeting with for folks who don't know who you are. Tell us about that first meeting with Frank Dukes.
Uh, that meeting was just awesome. I mean, I thought I was only going to get 10 minutes. With Frank, I got a whole weekend. We
Wow.
actually went to the movies and saw Star Trek. which was
Nice.
really cool. Um, and also, I got to interview him for
Hmm.
20 minutes, which is on YouTube, which that's an awesome interview. So,
Yeah, I'm gonna probably put that in the show notes as well, so people can watch that interview because
yeah.
that was a pretty good interview. But yeah, he comes across to me as a pretty class act when it comes to the martial arts industry, and he actually watched Bloodsport at your house.
No, that was actually at the hotel we stayed at.
Was that the hotel? Was that the hotel?
Yeah, yeah. We
Uh,
stayed at a Best Western, so
oh, okay, okay.
in Charleston, West Virginia, actually. So.
So while you guys were watching Bloodsport there at the hotel, I mean, did he tell you some things about Bloodsport that you didn't know originally?
Yeah, but what was amazing is I told him some stuff that he didn't even know, and he
Really?
started down laughing. Yeah, because he actually quoted this, Mike, and this is a quote from him. He says, "You know more about Bloodsport than I do."
How is that even possible? And there's one of the pictures right there. I just found one of the pictures of you guys at the hotel there, watching Bloodsport. Now, for those who maybe haven't heard of the movie, I've even talked to a lot of people recently,
Mm-hmm.
Justin, that have never heard of this movie.
Wow.
Explain, yeah, explain what the movie Bloodsport and what it's all about and everything.
Okay, Bloodsport is about Frank Dukes, of course, where he fights in the Kumite, and the reason this movie really took off is because he's the first Caucasian um, American to ever win the competition. So
Very first one. Very first one.
yeah, very first one. And the thing is, let me tell you a quick story here
Okay.
that I recently learned. His first win, they didn't want to give him a title or nothing. Didn't want to give him a sword or trophy or anything. So the Asians made him go all the way to Asia and fight a kumite from scratch. So
Really?
so he really broke those racial barriers because they couldn't believe that a white man could do something like that. So
You know, there's quite a few scenes in the movie. I think isn't there one scene in the movie where there's a guy that's holding like a penny in his hand and then he grabs it and he
yeah,
replaces it with a nickel or something?
yeah, Frank could actually do that. I've never seen it done, but he said that he got the inspiration to do that from Bruce Lee. So
He never fought Bruce Lee or anything, did he?
no, I have a feeling if he did though, they would have killed each other.
Really?
Yeah. So so maybe it's a good thing that they didn't find each other. So.
Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about the movie, about the scenes in the movie. We just talked about one there, about what people will see when they watch this movie.
Okay, well, you'll see a lot of Van Damme, of course.
Mm-hmm. Van
Um,
Damme, Jean-Claude Van Damme plays character. Uh-huh.
yeah, that actually made him a big star. That was his movie that made him. You'll also see him tied to a tree in a split, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So and looks very painful. So
Oh, it does. The other thing is too, one of the fight scenes, they actually put this wrap around their hands and there's glass on it.
now you've got another movie mixed up with Bloodsport. That's Kickboxer. That's a different.
Oh, that's Kickboxer. You're right. You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
that's a different film.
Okay.
Um, but that's basically the same concept if you really look at
Well, yeah.
Kickboxer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so because the same person that did Bloodsport did Kickboxer as well. So
That's
um,
right.
that's a good film too as well, but not as good as Bloodsport because Bloodsport is is true. So
So what if somebody got involved in some of these Kumite fights? What could they expect to what would it be like?
wow. Well, let's see.
From best you can tell and what Frank has told you and everything.
Well, from what Frank has told me, is the reason it was so hush hush is because You had to be highly skilled, or you
Hmm.
could be killed. I mean, it was no rules
No,
back when he
no
fought.
holds bar, as they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Got you. So, did how many fights, or do you know how many fights that Frank Dukes did in his during the heart of his career?
I think it was 390 some.
390 something he survived. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, because kickboxing is like that. It's a very it's a very brutal sport from what I understand. And I mean, there was a lot of fights that weren't talked about. A lot of, and for those of you watching the video or watching the archive, yeah, that's his puppy dog behind him there that you see.
Yeah, she's playing, guys. I apologize. She can hardly contain herself.
Nah, she's okay. She's okay. That adds a little dimension. How long you had that dog?
I've had her, I think, a year now.
Has it been a year?
I think it has been a year now.
Is she a German Shepherd mix?
Yeah, she's full-blooded German Shepherd. So,
Okay. And she's actually chasing her tail right now.
yeah,
Something that she likes to do. That's a good
yeah.
dog for you. D does she help you when you're trying to get around and stuff?
She still needs to be trained, but she helps me emotionally. So
That's good. That's good. Now, I couldn't let this go by because not only do I have a show, you have a show as well on the internet. Actually, you're part of two shows. I want you to talk about your blog talk radio shows that you're involved with.
okay, well, I haven't done my show. I haven't done in quite a while. I need to get it started back up. But also, it's a MMA show. I've had some pretty big guests on there, and also I co-host a show with the famous Bob Carson. We do a political show together. So,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Talk a little bit about the guests that you've had on your show because you've had some big ones, including Frank Dukes himself.
yeah, I've had actually, I don't know if I've had you on there yet, Mike, but
You
uh,
haven't.
well, we could always get you booked sometime.
Absolutely.
Tony Luke Jr. And for those that don't know who Tony Luke Jr. is, he is famous for his Philly cheesesteaks, and he's an actor as well, and singer as well.
Okay.
Um, and then I've had the famous Stan Bush on my show.
Great show.
Uh, so he was very popular in the 80s. He did music for Bloodsport, Kickboxer, Transformers movie, which that came out a few years ago. So,
How does
so
it
I've
feel
had
to,
some
how
pretty
does it
big stars.
Yeah, how's it feel to interview some of these people? I mean, some of these people, I mean, you couldn't touch, without going through 50 agents, back in the day, but now you can actually just reach out and basically say, "Hey, do you want to be on my show?" And I mean, how does that feel to you that we've been able to come across so well with technology and interconnections that we can actually do these kind of things now?
It's amazing. I tell you, it's completely amazing. I mean, I am sometimes I'm speechless, because I'm like, it's unbelievable. But it just goes to show you, if you want something bad enough, you can get it.
Absolutely. Something that I've noticed that's amazing, and of course, it's amazing that we can say, and I can actually see you on video here from West Virginia right now. But something I've noticed as we've talked over the years, it seems like your motions have gotten better. Like you're actually improving in your condition.
Well, actually, it's funny that you mentioned that because a few weeks ago I started physical therapy. So I've been
Oh,
doing it 2 days a week now. So,
very, very good. Very good. Yeah, because I know that your hand motions are better, your facial motions are better. That's really good to see, man. I mean, you're actually
mhm.
beating this thing, and that's awesome.
And another thing I'd like to mention too, since I've been back from Seattle, and because you know that I got in a depressed mood for a while. Well, I was on all kinds of medication, antidepressants, and all this. I'm not taking any type of medication whatsoever, and I feel great.
That's good. That's good. That's good. And I know about depression.
Oh
I've
yeah!
I've had it my entire life. I'm only on one medication though. I'm proud to say that though. But
Wow.
It
Yeah.
can, yeah, it can put you in a pretty dark place, that's for sure. But I'm glad
Oh
you're
yeah.
out of it, that's for sure. Uh, let's talk a little bit about your role on Bob Carson's show, which is also on Blog Talk Radio. Why don't you go ahead and talk
hmm
a little bit about that?
Well, I am the official co-host. I basically get to put in my 2 cents whenever I feel like it, and you know the thing I like about being the co-host, even if there's a show, if I say Bob, I can't make it today, he'll cover for me. So it's not like I have to be there, but I always try to be there.
Yeah, I've talked with Bob on several occasions. Really good guy, really knows what he's doing. But talk a little bit about what his shows cover. I know there's two particular areas in particular. It's MMA fighting and usually politics or current events, right?
Yeah, politics. Well, actually, he does two different shows. He does an MMA show and then he does a political show. Which what we try to do on our show is um, we try to be for the lower class of people because
Right.
and that's what our show stresses. It's like we talk about the issues that people don't even dare talk about. So.
Gotcha, gotcha. What do you think's the biggest issues coming into this political election year?
Oh Lord, that's a that's a
Loaded
good
gun
question.
question, I know.
Well, I don't think that Obama has lived up to his potential. I mean, one thing that he's done good though is he got Bin Laden. I will say that, but
Yep.
I don't think that he's really done what he's supposedly supposed to do. So
Did his health care bill help you at all with your condition or anything?
no, not really.
Oh gosh. Yes, I've heard a lot of people complain, particularly people who have quote unquote pre-existing conditions. There
Yeah.
seems to be a lot of red tape with that. Have you run into any of that?
Mm-mm. No.
Okay, that's good.
Uh,
Because a lot of people I know have.
Yeah, and I tell you, Mike, one thing that I do hate about the internet these days is see, I miss Snapvine because that was a website that I actually met Moss on because it's a voice like a voice network. Um, I can't find another voice network because Cinchcast is closing down. So.
Yes, it has. It's closed down to mainly a commercial or paid type of ordeal. There is Voice Boo that's out there, but the bottom line is these weren't Snapvine. These aren't Snapvine. Snapvine was more of a very closely knit family type. If I could call it that, a family type thing. You could record audio and upload it. You could dial in and record and respond to other people. You could do that on VoiceBoo, but it's the functionality of it's just not quite there yet. Now
Mhm.
maybe it will be one day. But there's other things out there that you can use too. I mean, there's something I use called Tout, which you can record 15-second videos in kind of a social networking format, and there's an app, for
Mhm.
Android and iOS 6. By
Mhm.
the way, have you upgraded to iOS 6 yet on your iPhone?
Yeah, it actually took 2 hours for me to upgrade though.
What do you
My
think?
I like it. So.
The only problem that I had with it was the Facebook Messenger. It would not let you post photos. The little
Wow.
app that you can click on the bottom. It would not work. But I'm proud to say within the last 2 or 3 days here, they've actually come out with an update that allows you to do that now. And they've actually updated the entire Messenger client. So it looks very similar to if you use the Twitter client app on your iPhone
hmm
and you're posting direct messages, the way the words come up on the screen, the way the conversation, it looks very similar to that. If you've ever used that before, so, but it works now. I'm happy to say. For about a week there, it didn't work, and it was a lot of complaints surged in from it. So, but what do you, Do you have the 4S or the 3GS? I'm trying to remember on your iPhone.
I actually have the 3G. I'm
Oh,
still on
so you're behind, even more behind than I am, because
the.
'cause I have the 3GS. So,
So
uh,
I'm behind on the technology as far as the phone. Now, actually, I actually won a the new voice software Dragon Dictation 3 for the Mac. I won it a few weeks ago and been playing with it quite a bit. Um, so
yeah, tell us a little bit about that program you've had an important role in that program from what you've told me in the past.
well, I'd have to say that Dragon Naturally Speaking is better than Dragon Dictation because the two programs are the same, but they're different. But as I'm playing with Dragon Dictation 3, it is improving slowly but surely. So
So, but didn't they ask you to the beta test a version of that or something back
uh,
a few
they
years ago?
they did, but they never got back to me. But what happens every year? They'll host some sort of contest when the new one comes out, and somehow I always get chosen for a free copy. So, which is a money saver. So,
No. Yeah, because that's not a cheap program, is it?
it can go up to $200 or more.
Whew. But I mean it that helps out a lot though.
Yeah, it sure does.
Well, let's talk a little bit about main reason you wanted to get on the show was to talk about this vacation that you went on recently.
hmm
The floor is yours, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I won't say what all I learned um, with Frank because a lot of it is sacred. But I will say that he did teach me meditation from Bloodsport, so which is
Oh,
really really cool. Um, and we actually, I had a nutritionist come. I had a physical therapist. I mean, top of the line, boss. I had acupuncture a couple days a week. I
ooh,
mean, I worked my butt off completely, but also had fun in the process. Tried new foods. Went to the Museum of Flight. Went to a rock and roll museum that had nothing but Jimi Hendrix stuff, nothing but
nice.
AC/DC stuff, uh, Nirvana. I mean, the list goes on and on. Um, let's see. Went to the movies, of course. Uh, and it was an amazing experience because when I got there, um, my spirit was torn, but when
Hmm.
I returned home, I was like a brand new person.
That is
So
awesome. Did you go to Space Needle while you were there in Seattle?
I actually didn't go to it, but I saw it.
What'd you think about that?
That's awesome. And I tell you, coming home, I faced a little bit of controversy because the lady that was supposed to help me on my plane, she didn't speak an ounce of English, and she didn't get me on my plane. And then they tried to tell my mother that she was going to have to come all the way to Charlotte to pick me up and everything. I almost had to get a lawyer.
Ooh.
So,
So when you were in the airports and stuff, did you get the famous pat downs?
oh yeah, and what's funny is they checked my wheelchair for bombs and stuff too.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm serious.
Oh my gosh. These airport pat downs have gotten insane, I think, at times. I mean, I know why they do them, but it just, I mean, do you think they've honestly made the airports any safer?
Not really. They've just made it more hectic than anything else.
You think it's probably what the terrorists wanted too, didn't
Yeah,
they?
exactly. And it's like what's funny about me having this trouble is I read an article and I shared it on Facebook and Twitter a few weeks ago. There was a kid with Down syndrome that uh, he was denied to get on a plane because he had Down syndrome. So,
What?
he's suing the airline, and I hope he has his own plane by the time he gets done. So,
Why was he? Why was he? I don't understand why he was not allowed access because he has Downs.
well, they said it was because that he would cause trouble, but all you can see in the video, Moss. I forget where it's at, but you can see in the video, all he's doing is sitting there playing with his hat. So
Sitting there
he, yeah,
playing with his hat.
yeah.
I mean, because
So
I've come across many people that have had Downs, and I mean, the worst that I've ever seen them do is that they can get a little loud. I mean, they get repetitive and blurt things out, but that's about the worst I've seen with a Downs uh, patient. So that's odd. That's odd.
yeah, it's like I was so upset about what happened with me. I had a panic attack um, while all this was going on, because all I was trying to do was get home.
Right. But back in Seattle, though, well, talk about the Rock and Roll Museum that you saw, because I mean, for folks who don't know, I mean, that is where what from Nirvana's from.
Yeah, yeah. They
Forgot his
had
name.
Nirvana stuff too. So,
Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain. Kurt Cobain.
yep.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, they had guitars. They had everything. I was like, my God, this place is just awesome.
Another
Yeah.
place that's awesome too is in Cleveland, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean,
Oh, I would love to go there.
I have been there, and plenty of stuff from every rock and roll artist you could think of. Elvis has even got stuff there, obviously. Jimi Hendrix, Cobain. I mean, they all do there, and it's yeah, you could spend a whole day in there.
Wow.
I mean, and me and my wife pretty much did spend most of a day in there touring around and stuff, and it's really neat to be able to have your legacy up there from the work that you've done in the past. So,
Mhm.
would you say that Hendrix is your favorite rock artist of all time?
I'd have to say it's either Hendrix or AC/DC, and I'd have to go with Hendrix. So,
You have to go with Hendrix. He was a pretty interesting cat, let me tell you.
yeah,
Very talented.
they say that he would have lived if they would have gotten him to the doctors in time.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about what happened with Jimi Hendrix.
Well, I think he died of a drug overdose, wasn't it?
Yeah, something. Yeah, it was a massive drug overdose.
And they didn't. Here's my take on it. They didn't want to get in trouble, so they waited too long, and it was too late.
I think he essentially drowned on his own fluids. I think is at the peak of it, but they might have been able to save him if he had gotten to a hospital soon enough, but
Hmm.
it didn't happen. So, but so let's see. You went to the Rock and Roll Museum up there, and then you say you saw a movie,
Hmm.
and
And went to the Museum of Flight, which was really cool. Got to see all kinds of airplanes and all that stuff. And
was anything Wilbur Wright up there
say that again.
from the Wilbur Wright days? From Kitty Hawk,
I
where
think
Flight
so,
began.
but I've seen so much stuff. It was hard to keep up with everything that I saw. So
Made you want to have your own little plane, doesn't it?
yeah, I didn't realize there were so many different types of planes. I mean, it was ridiculous, Moss. I was like, wow.
Did they show any things on the type of disasters that's happened in flight?
I think they showed a video on one of the monitors and stuff, and I
Yeah,
think
yeah, I'm
they got
wondering if they
some.
showed anything on the Hindenburg up there. Is what I'm wondering.
Yeah, I wonder that too. I can't remember because it was a while back, and after you see so much stuff, it kind of runs together, you know.
So you learned this acupuncture thing. Can you talk about your acupuncture treatment that you had up there, or is that hush hush?
I can talk about that. Well, basically, my back was really arched when I got there, but And the first day I had acupuncture, uh, I was in so much pain I could not put my hands and arms on the stool to relax.
Wow.
Now the second day I had acupuncture, I fell asleep on the table. So it definitely did help a lot.
That's
So.
great. That's great. And for folks who don't know what acupuncture is, essentially it's a skillful way where they put needles essentially into your body at certain pressure points in your body, and it's supposed to relieve uh, most any type of pain
Yeah.
for the most part. Now, you said your back was curved. Is that scoliosis type because of scoliosis, or
I do. It's because of the CP, but I do have a little bit of scoliosis in my back. So.
yeah? Because I used to go to church with a family. Two or three of them actually had scoliosis, and it can be quite debilitating. But if you can actually get any type of treatment for it, I mean that's a plus. So, but have they done any type of specialized treatment for your scoliosis?
No, I don't think it's that bad at this point. I mean, it's. I got a little bit of it, but not bad. Not bad enough to where I would need treatment for it. So.
How many steps did you take when you did your sidestepping with Frank Dukes?
I actually did too, but on my trip as well, he actually got me back on a walker, and I walked a couple of feet, which was amazing. So.
Yeah, what is that like when you've never taken a step before in your entire life? What does that feel like? What does your body feel like when you take those first steps?
Well, my body, by the time I got done, I mean, I felt great inside, but my body was just screaming, you know,
Yeah.
and very, and it took a lot of work. I was very tired, but in the end, it was very rewarding. So.
Well, I can imagine that it was because when I broke my femur back in 1996 in a car accident, I was not allowed to put any weight on that leg for 3.5 months.
Hmm.
So I could not walk for 3.5 months. And I remember when they finally said that I could at least do it on the walker. I mean that in itself was big, uh, wobbly, but it was big, and I really took it for granted. And then they finally said I could use a crutch, and
Hmm.
painful. It is painful, but it does help when you have physical therapy, which I did at the time as well. And then I
Hmm.
remember the day when they said I could take it away and walk all together. I mean, I was literally having to throw my right hand arm out all the time just to keep balance because I was wobbly. I mean, you're kind of like a baby trying to take first steps, and it's hard and it's painful until those muscles finally get back to the point to where they can work themselves back and you can actually walk again. And people take something simple as walking so for granted. But you and me have both have found out firsthand, how valuable that simple thing really is.
Hmm. And I tell you another thing that's helpful too. You gotta watch what you put in your body. Like, stay away from fried foods.
Hmm.
Um, it's all in what you put in your body too to make you feel good. A lot of people have forgotten that, but it's true. You gotta watch what you put in your body.
Drink lots of liquids. Try to
Hmm.
stay away from pop. Don't smoke. Don't do drugs because you used to smoke.
Yeah. Now I don't smoke at all. And speaking of caffeine, I used to drink coffee all day. Now I'm just down to 1 cup.
And that's the cup that you had right there at the start of the show there, I seen.
Yeah.
Just so
So,
that's all you have. That's all you have in one day.
yep. And that's a major improvement.
Well, that's hard. I mean, that's hard to do. I mean, once you get hooked on something like that, I mean, you try to get off of it, and I mean, you have headaches and the like. I mean, it can be difficult.
Yeah, it really can. And that's why I decided, 1 cup of coffee won't kill me, but if I don't have it, I'll have a bad headache,
Hmm.
which one's not going to kill you. It's it's about moderation. you know.
Everything in moderation. That's exactly right. So what do
Hmm.
you drink in place of it? Just water and stuff?
Water, Gatorade. Every once in a while, I have a pop or whatever, but as long as I don't overdo it, I'll be
Right.
fine.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, is there anything else about your visit that you can tell us, or is the rest of it kind of hush hush?
I'm trying to think actually. Actually, what was great? Two things that I just thought of.
Uh-huh.
Frank lives on a lake, so every morning we would eat outside and look at the lake.
Mm,
I mean, it's beautiful. And I remember we did a martial arts class, and I
right.
was I was in the water doing martial arts.
Oh, he does martial arts in the water.
Hmm.
Really? What's
Which
that like?
it was awesome. I mean, I was actually doing the moves and stuff, and and working with the other students. And I got to tell you this. I got to tell you this story as well.
Sure.
We couldn't figure out how to get me down to the uh, cabin, to see his stuff. So, because it's very hard to push my wheelchair and gravel and stuff.
Right.
So what we
Exactly.
did was, and at first I thought he was kidding, but apparently not. But it worked. So what we did was he put me in a wheelbarrow and pushed it down there.
That's cool.
Yeah, so that was really cool. But when he first mentioned that, I thought he was just joking, but he was serious. You know?
And I guess Justin, it should be mentioned that even to this day, I mean, Frank Dukes is what, probably in his mid 50s now.
Yeah, he doesn't look like he's in his 50s, but he is.
No, he does not. But he still does classes and stuff. I mean, he's still in with doing his martial arts.
Yeah, I mean he still does it, and I even think that he's trying to work things out with Van Damme. Which
Really?
I think is good because I've always wanted to see a redo of Bloodsport, or like a true sequel to the movie.
So are they actually talking about doing a sequel, or do you know?
I think they may be talking about it. So,
Interesting. I wonder how they would approach that kind of a sequel to because both of them, of course, are older now. So because I know they were talking about doing another Rocky, didn't they?
yeah, they're talking about it, but they really need to give it up on Rocky. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rocky's a classic, but it's just going on and on and on and on and on. You know.
Wonder if he's still with Adrian.
And actually, Adrian in the last Rocky, Adrian's dead. Actually.
Yeah, that's right. I'm just kidding. I'm just keeping the old yo Adrian going. But yeah, she did die in the last one. So,
Yeah.
but but
And Expendables 2 wasn't bad.
yeah. What was your what Rocky do you think was your favorite?
I'd have to say the first one.
The very first one.
Yeah.
Most people it is.
I just think that they went overboard with it when they killed all the characters and
Right, they
everything.
did.
So it's
But
time to hang it up, Stallone.
t time to hang her up. But uh, how many students does Frank Dukes have nowadays on average, would you say?
Oh Lord. In what country?
Well, let's just take something simple. The class that you saw. Typically, how many does he have with him at any one time?
I think there was like 4 or 5 of us.
So it's
Uh,
so it's small groups basically.
yeah. Um, but I mean, he teaches everywhere. I mean, Germany, um, Iceland, just different areas.
He's
Wow.
been everywhere, man.
Yeah, like everywhere. Like seriously.
Yeah. Any in Australia?
He hasn't mentioned Australia, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, what wouldn't surprise me either. So, but does he do just classes in Seattle in the United States, or does he go around the country as well?
Oh, he goes around the country and sometimes teaches. It just depends. He does seminars. I mean, he does it all.
Hmm. I don't know if he does any in Indiana or not. Wouldn't
I,
wouldn't
I'd have to
surprise me.
ask and see.
Yeah,
So,
have to go out there and shake hands with him or so. I'd like to meet that guy because I mean he is a class act when it comes to the martial arts industry, and to still be doing it in his mid 50s now. I mean that's impressive. I mean because a lot of people just simply hang it up and give it up. They live on what they've done in the past, but he really wants to teach his craft to generations to come, and I mean that's what gives him staying power. It's kind of like a musician that's a true musician. They write their own music and they keep themselves going, they keep themselves relevant, and he does the same thing.
exactly. And even though my music career was short, I wouldn't change it for the world. So,
And you said Tony Luke Jr. is a artist as well. What type of music does he do?
he does like soft rock. He's really good. I'll have to send you some of his tunes. Um, and you can actually look up information on him, and he's got a Twitter account as well. So
Yeah, I think I'm on his I think I'm on his list. I think I'm subscribed to him, so I see tweets from him every now and again. So
yeah,
that's good. Has he written anything for any professional artists or anything, or is it just his own thing that he does?
I think it's just his own thing that he does, but he does a great job with what he does. I would love to meet him someday. I think that would just be awesome as well.
There's
So
no there's no reason that you can't.
exactly, and I told him once. I said if they ever decided to do a movie on my life, I said you could play my father because my dad's got his head shaved, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, he could learn to play my dad. And he wrote me back and said, he says if that ever happens, give me a call. And I said I sure will. So,
Absolutely. You got an MMA hat on there for folks looking at the video here. Did you get that from MMA themselves, or what's the story behind the hat?
I got that from Frank Dukes has a website. I forget the name of it right
Yeah.
off, but he has a website that he sells his official gear and stuff.
Oh, okay. Okay. So that's part of his official gear. What else can you find in his shop, his store?
You can find, which I've got mine are personally signed. You can find MMA gloves. You can find MMA. You can find MMA Dukes sweatshirts, headgear, anything you can think of.
That is awesome. That is awesome. You know, Duke's Mark. We'll call it the Duke's Mark.
Yeah, the Dukes market.
Well, Justin, is there anything else you'd like to discuss here on the show before we go? I know you. I know recently there was a podcast out here that you actually called into, and they actually vehemently uh, put Frank Dukes down. Talk a little bit about that.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about, and they actually put me down as well.
Yeah, yeah, they
Um,
put both of you down. Yeah.
yeah, I mean the they're called pull no punches, which
Pull no punches. Hmm.
yeah, a fighter who is no good. Uh, and I'm not just saying that because he personally attacked me either. I've actually done some research on Marcus Davis, and he's not a very good fighter. Um, and I guess that's why he's not fighting now because he's not that good. But their comments were so vile that a lot of it I don't want to repeat on this broadcast. Um,
That's okay. You don't have to. I wouldn't either.
yeah, they're they're on Blog Talk Radio still, but I don't think that they're associated with Cage Junkies. I don't know, but they're they definitely need to grow up. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, because it was pretty vile. It really was with no evidence. It was kind of more of an opinion base than anything. But I remember listening to it. I was sickened, and hopefully that'll never happen to you again, because there was no call for that. Absolutely no call for that.
No, and what gets me about this whole thing is I was just calling in to have fun with the guys and throw my 2 cents in, you know, because they had asked a question, and I called in, and then they started. I got to say that I I'm one to have fun on the radio and just cut up and laugh, but there's a time and place for everything, and they just went too far.
Yeah, there's no time and place in that, especially somebody who's disabled. I mean, to make fun of somebody who's disabled on the air, I mean, is one of the lowest common denominators in radio, in my opinion. And frankly, if you're going to do that, I mean, frankly, I don't think you have a place on internet radio or anywhere. That's my personal opinion because I mean, the show they can do what they want, but in my personal opinion, it's totally classless. It's completely and utterly classless, and won't
Yeah,
see me support a show like that.
that's why you'll see on my Facebook I took their logo, which I'm sure they know about this, but I took their logo and actually wrote on it, "Uno punches bashes the disabled."
Yeah,
So,
it's sad. Well, tell us where we can find you out on the internet, and kind of in closing as well, since we're talking about fighting and everything. Tell me about your opinion on the state of the WWE.
okay, cool. Because I have quite a few things to say about the WWE actually.
Okay, go ahead.
Um, okay, well, first of all, you can find me on Twitter at Just the Ray Harvey. You can find me on Skype at Just the Ray Harvey. And you can find me on Facebook at Justin Ray Harvey. And if you want to email me, you can email me at frankdukesfan@gmail.com. Okay?
And he's also Justin Ray Harvey on Google Plus.
Yeah, so very easy to find. Very simple. Okay. About the WWE, it's not as good as it used to be, but I do have some shocking news. During a broadcast, I think it was week before last, Jerry the King Lawler suffered a heart attack.
Really?
Yeah, during the show, and usually if something does happen, they'll announce it and say, this is not part of the show,
Hmm.
you know, this and that. But what happened was he actually had a match, and then after the match, sat down and collapsed. So,
You know what, Justin? I actually do remember seeing something about that now because he has an account on Tout that we were talking about earlier. Where you can share 15-second videos and stuff. It's kind of a social network that
mhm.
you can use your smartphone on, and he actually did a Tout from the hospital.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know if he's. I'll have to find that for you, but he had he was all hooked up and everything, and he said, I kind of look like the Bionic Man here, but he did look like he was on the mend. So fortunately, it looks like he may have came through it okay.
Yeah, he did say that he doesn't remember it happening. He just remembers waking up thinking that him and his girlfriend was still in Aruba.
Oh wow.
So, and the doctor said he's lucky to
Yeah.
be alive. So,
Anytime you have a heart attack, you're definitely lucky to be alive. So, but
but don't you think that it's a sign for him to quit wrestling completely? I mean, just completely, just
it
hang it up.
probably is. It probably is because he's not a young man anymore, obviously. But
No, I mean he's one of the greats, but come on, we all have our days to where we got to say, okay, we're done. You know,
yeah, yeah, he could still live and enjoy life and everything. Don't get me wrong and everything, but I mean, yeah, in terms of that really strenuous physical activity. I mean, your body can only take so much of it, even if you're in great shape and hardly even injured, because eventually you will get injured because your body just can't take that type of strain anymore. And he's done it all, hasn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he has, and it's like an example. As much as I would love to see it, Frank Dukes has done the right thing with not fighting anymore, and he's retired, and you know, and after two brain tumors, that's a great decision. As much as I would love to see one of his fights or a new fight, you
Hmm.
know, you got to know when to hang it up.
Yeah, the unfortunate. That's right. He did have two brain tumors, didn't he?
Yeah, from his matches and stuff.
Oh, that's from fighting. That's actually from fighting.
Yes,
So, did he have to have chemotherapy and stuff, or did he do some of his techniques to shrink the tumors down?
he actually had brain surgery done.
No, so he did actually they have actual surgery done.
Yeah. And at the time, Van Damme thought that he wasn't going to come out of his coma, which he was in a coma, and that's when he took what was supposed to have been the sequel to Bloodsport. That's when he took a script and took it to somebody else and made it into the Quest and
Ooh.
stole Frank's idea, and that's what caused the whole court thing. So,
But
they,
you're saying now they're trying to mend fences, though.
yeah, I think so. So.
Well, that'd be pretty amazing if they could. That's for sure.
Yeah, I feel bad for Van Damme though because he's just I wish he would be like he was before because he was very hardworking and very dedicated. He just let the Hollywood lifestyle catch up with him.
That has a lot of people. Lindsay Lohan comes to mind immediately when you think about Hollywood tragedies. I mean, her mom did a bit recently with a Dr. Phil, and you kind of see where the apple fell from the tree because her mom was either drunk or on some type of drug or something because she was a basket case on on a on Dr. Phil, and
Hmm.
there it was also found out recently that she also was involved in another car incident where she actually hit somebody
Wow.
in a parking garage, and I don't know what became of that. I haven't heard what's come of that or anything, but I mean, she's had a long history of DUI and drug use and all kinds of things, and that's what that Hollywood life can do that to if you don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get it. Why would somebody want to take drugs anyway? It's like I don't get it. It's something that I'll never understand. You know, why would
Usually,
you? Yeah.
yeah. Usually, it has something to do with either peer pressure. My buddies are doing it. I got to do it to be cool, or they have some type of ailment or something, and they get somebody gives them the drug or something, and they get hooked on it, or they become desperate for money and they sell it. And I
Hmm.
mean, that's basically how most of these drug addictions get started. I mean, yeah, they're dangerous, but I can't emphasize enough that if they're mistaken, prescription drugs can be just as bad. Because we've had a lot of people that have gotten strung out on prescription drugs. We talked about Elvis earlier. That's exactly what happened to him. He got strung out on them and alcohol, and it
Hmm.
cost him his life.
Yeah, and I'd like to say out of all the drugs that are out there, they marijuana's not as bad as they say it is.
Hmm.
But that's just my opinion. So.
Yeah, it's just like anything else. So too much of it, I mean, can be really, really bad for you. I mean,
Oh,
because
oh yeah. I mean,
yeah,
anything that would be good for you, anyways. Too much of something is bad.
oh, absolutely, absolutely, because
Moderation, people.
moderation. Because because I mean, if you take too much THC, I mean, it can literally fry your brain. It can leave you in a pretty bad state, and the carcinogen amount in marijuana is much higher than than cigarettes. Though I will admit, it's pretty high with cigarettes too. There's other dangers in cigarettes that make them probably the most deadly of any of them.
Yeah,
Because of
yeah,
the stuff that they
exactly.
put in there. I mean, there's cyanide in these things. I mean, there's actual cyanide in cigarettes these days. I mean,
And I tell you why alcohol is legal is because all these politicians drink. You
yep,
know, I mean, alcohol can be good for you if you drink like one a day. Like, not every day, maybe once every few weeks. It would clean out your kidneys, but you know, a lot of people can't just stop at one. I mean, that's another example.
it's addictive. It's a very it
Mm-hmm.
that's the very addictive property of it. And but I mean, wine is really good for people as long as as like you said, they do it in moderation and everything. So, but that's the world we live in, brother. I mean, it's like Lay's potato chip. You just can't have one. I mean, that's the society we live in. Well, brother, it's been good talking to you again, and we'll get you back on the show at a future day. We want to talk about some other things going on in the news and everything. And tell people real quick where they can find the Blog Talk Radio shows, so they can look up and subscribe to those.
Actually, just type in,
Can you just
just
do a
type
simple
in,
search?
yeah, just do a simple search because I can't think of the link right now, but just do like, uh, Justin Harvey, or if you want to do like the political show, just type in like Bob Carson and J Ray or something.
Yeah,
And it'll,
I think J Ray Radio works for yours too.
yeah, yeah.
So, oh,
So,
well, you got a phone call coming in there. You want to grab that
yeah,
real
hold on
quick?
1 second. Oh, they got it. Okay.
Okay. It's ironic that the phone rings when we're finishing up here and everything, but
That'll be a blooper.
that'll
That's
be a
perfect.
blooper. I might actually leave that one in. That's kind of funny. But
Yeah.
but anyway, I think you can search those on iTunes as well, and I think they'll come up as well.
Yeah, they're in the iTunes store thanks to me. I put them both in the iTunes store. And also, just to plug Frank Dukes again, if you want to see Bloodsport and you don't want to buy this copy, you can buy it in the iTunes store now thanks to me talking to Apple for about an hour. It's available in the iTunes store now. So.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. You say the full movie or just an hour of it?
No, I talked to Apple for an hour.
Oh, you talked to Apple for an hour. Okay.
Yeah, because I got to tell you, they was like, "Why do you watch one movie every day?" And it's like, I'm like, well, first of all, it's a great flick. Second of all, I know the real Frank Dukes, and I talked him into putting it on putting it on iTunes. It's also available on Netflix. So,
Excellent. Excellent. That's good. That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So,
so
well, again, Justin, it's been great talking to you. And like I said, we'll get you back on a future show. And you enjoy your evening there, brother. And I'll be talking to you soon.
you too, Moss, and everybody, take it easy, and thanks for listening to today's show.
Absolutely. And you can send us feedback at mossgrowth@gmail.com, or you can send me, go to dropbox.com, and I'm Postcast still on Dropbox. You can send us some audio feedback there. So for Justin Ray Harvey, I'm Michael Moss here from New Whiteland, Indiana. It's October 1st, 2012. Thank you all for listening.